Voice line for Friday, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. So the LA City Council yesterday had its meeting. Apparently it was quite lengthy. And one of the things they were supposed to, once and for all, is pass a waiver for all the rebuilding fees for people who lost their homes in the fire. For LA City, that would be specifically Pacific Palisades. You know, Altadena and Malibu, that's you need the county. And it didn't happen. Again, and in January, shortly after the fire, after Karen Bass made it back from Africa, remember the press conference with Trump? And Newsom said this separately, and they both promised that process is going to be streamlined, fees are going to be waived. They were never waived. Now listen to this report, Matthew Seedorf from Fox 11 on the latest city council debacle.
Fire victims are still waiting to see if the city of LA will cover.
City can't find its way out of a paper bag.
Fire victims are still waiting to see if the city of LA will cover reconstruction permit fees now almost 11 months since the Palisades fire.
You want to have a permit today, you actually have to pay the fees, or you have to sign a document agreeing to pay them if the city council cannot agree on it.
Some council members are pushing for a plan that would cost roughly $86 million and cover the reconstruction permit fees of single-family homes up to 110% their original size. While another plan would cost roughly $280 million and cover all reconstruction permit fees for homes, apartments, mobile homes, and businesses.
Seems like every step of the way, the money that we were paying in taxes seems like we're begging to get it back when we need it the most.
They're nickel and diming us on who's going to get what and how much and why should we get it.
And now they're just trying to get more money from us so we can rebuild homes that were burned down. It's so gross.
Homes that the city of Los Angeles allowed to burn. They allowed to burn. That the Department of Water and Power, Janice Quinones, allowed it to burn. No water in the reservoir. That the state of California, this fire started on state land, and the state employees interfered with LA Fire Department to put out the original fire because they wanted to save the milk vetch plant. So the fire reignited, and then they allowed the Palisades to burn. I have heard from too many people that I know, people that I've randomly met in the Palisades, people that I have read about online. They let it burn. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not crazy talk. The fire department stood down. Who ordered them to? Or whether it was they really did completely run out of water and there were no backup plans and no personnel and no equipment. But they didn't fight the fire effectively. And a lot of neighborhoods were allowed to burn. That is true. Now, when you have the government through all their incompetence from beginning to end, now you got thousands of buildings that need to be rebuilt, and you promise, okay, all right, we're going to waive the rebuilding fees, waive the permit fees. And look what they did. I talked to Michael Monks about this because he actually watched part of this city council meeting yesterday, and I asked Michael, I said, well, wait a second. Why does it cost $86 million not to charge people a permit fee, right? Doesn't cost money to say yes. And he said, well, they were counting on the permit fees in their budget. Well, it's a new fiscal year. Well, why did they count on the permit fees when Bass and Newsom said immediately there'd be no permit fees? See, in the budget, they expected to get $287 million in permit fees, even though Newsom and Bass had said, no, it's going to be free. They put it in the budget, and now they're claiming, well, this is going to cost us $287 million. Well, no, it's not. It's not costing you anything. They claim it's a cost because people aren't going to pay the permit fees. Well, that was the deal. You let the place burn, and then you said, okay, we won't charge you permit fees. But they put the permit fees in the budget, and now they're saying, whoa, wait, hold on. We need that money. Why'd you cut $287 million from those corrupt homeless programs that you're all feeding on? These are a bunch of criminals who've enabled billions of dollars of homeless fraud. That brings me to another thing, but we got to take a break. I'll talk about this when we come back. Somebody has got to explain to me. There's this frenzy in Minnesota now. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. You could hear on the podcast. But Tim Walz is getting all kinds of crap shoveled at him because he let the Somalis steal $1 billion. Newsom let $32 billion get stolen from the unemployment fund during COVID. 32 times what Walz allowed to be stolen. And that's only the beginning. Well, where are the investigations here? Why is nobody looking into the $32 billion that was stolen by fraudsters from around the world just for the unemployment program? And then let's get to the $24 billion stolen by these homeless nonprofits. Talk more when we come back. But there's no way they should be charging permit fees. 11 months, they still haven't waived the permit fees in Los Angeles. That Bass is such a stinking liar. It's just unconscionable. All right.